and is here because of the efforts of this man. I was a fly on the wall for all of that, and I watched it happen firsthand.
It doesn't happen without you, my friend.
Thank you very much. I get in trouble for saying this. Tom Cruise's performance with Val Kilmer in Top Gun Maverick, the most emotional through line of that entire scene, one take. You're talking about an actor of incredible technical ability, but also incredible generosity. Making these movies is both extremely emotional and extremely technical. You have to hit very specific marks, how you blink, how you move, it's so obsessively precise because the communication is so global and so nonverbal. It's so highly attuned, and everybody is watching Tom, and they're learning from Tom how to make these movies and how to deliver that kind of performance. That's all emanating from him to all the people around him. It's the generosity of Tom as to why all of that is working. And it's again something I feel he does not nearly get enough credit for. Another thing I would say, when you watch Tom tonight, there's a moment where he's in an airplane, he's in a biplane, completely alone. He's at the controls, and his biplane suffers some damage. Spoiler, there's tension in this scene. And there's a moment where the camera's in profile, and Tom Cruise looks over at the damaged strut of his biplane, and the camera throws focus. And it's this beautiful backlit shot of your sun, and you see this vibrating strut. And Tom turns back, and the camera racks focus to Tom. I want you to remember, there's no crew with Tom in an airplane at 10,000 feet above Africa. Tom is lighting the shot by how he's positioning the plane in its relationship to the sun, and he's operating focus just off camera. He is the crew in every single shot you're seeing. And nobody tells you this stuff. He's never on the behind the scenes. Tom's like, stop doing that. I'm like, no, I'm going to tell everybody.
And there's a lot of briefing beforehand. Where do you want the light, McHugh? How do you want, what are the clouds like? Are you happy with the background?
Yes, of course. And then, of course, when I'm saying you're happy with the background is clouds. It's not like we can scout that location. Remember the cloud we saw yesterday? Go to that cloud. Tom is up there, and I'm talking to Tom on a radio where he really can barely hear me, and he's flying in an open cockpit. The communication it's another thing to remember when you see Tom on the wing of the plane. The only way to communicate with Tom on the wing of the plane is through hand signals. He has no radio, which means I have to fly up next to Tom in my helicopter. And Tom can't see me unless I open the door and step out onto the skid, with my first AD, Mary Boulding, reminding me to leave my seatbelt on. And I'm doing hand signals to Tom, and now the thing to remember about this environment, this is all fun stuff you're getting that most audiences don't. When you leave the cockpit of the plane, it's like stepping onto the surface of another planet. The wind is hitting you in excess of 140 miles an hour coming off the propeller. The molecules of the air are so dispersed, you're breathing, but only physically. You're not actually getting oxygen. And Mary Bolden is sitting next to me, and she's got a stopwatch. And when Tom climbs out of the cockpit, I'll say, start the clock. And every minute, Mary Bolden says, 1 minute on the wing. And Tom is going through his performance, 2 minutes on the wing. Tom has 12 minutes. We know this from experimentation that at about 12 minutes, the fatigue of being blasted by this wind is breaking his entire body down to the point where it's literally like 2 hours in the gym. And Tom, being the perfectionist that he is, would get to about 12 minutes. And I would lean out the door of the helicopter and say, and Tom would go, 13 minutes on the wing. If you've ever seen Rocky, there was a moment, more than one moment, where Tom had pushed himself to the point that he was so physically exhausted, he couldn't get back up off the wing. He was laying on the wing of the plane. His arms are hanging over the front of the wing. We could not tell if he was conscious or not, and we also knew that unless Tom did this, it was expressly agreed he was not in trouble and he could not cut. You can't do this when you're unconscious. So we're waiting to see if there's any indication if Tom is okay. This means I'm resting. And we're waiting to see this sign. And Tom is laying on the wing of the plane, and John remained in the plane so that the planes could have their full maneuverability. We didn't leave with a full tank of fuel. We left with a very light load of fuel so that the airplane could do the aerobatics it did. At which point John Romain says, I have 3 minutes of fuel. 22 minutes on the wing. This was a typical day shooting in Africa, and watching Tom at the point of physical exhaustion get himself, because by the way, the plane can't land if Tom's on the wing. I should have mentioned that. So when John Romain is saying 3 minutes, he's got 3 minutes to get up, but he's been on that wing for 20 minutes. And we watched Tom as he pulled himself up and stuck his head in the cockpit so that he could replenish the oxygen in his body and then climb up into the cockpit and bring the plane safely down the land. No one on earth can do